Now we will start question and answer.
Okay, so using social media to PR for an event can only do so much. What are some ways that can you PR for an event besides that?
I think a really important one is definitely word of mouth, and especially establishing a relationship with other members as well. So you're able to always, I guess, like kind of PR like an event that's coming up. Like you obviously like have a relationship with that member and everything. So it's just like when you guys hang out, it's like, oh hey, there's this event coming up, you guys should go, something like that. I think definitely social media is an integral part of PR, but I think also having that personal relationship with members is also really important as well. So you can have a turnout for all these events that come up.
Personally, advertising for me, as in solid advertising, something tangible, not something through Facebook or Instagram that says, hey, you should come to our event. Like Melanie said, word of mouth would be perfect because we had talked about it. We'd also tell everybody about it. But also, flyers would be really helpful and in very ideal places. Some of them may or may not be ideal, but honestly, flyers would be the best way to get our word about certain events to certain people, especially people who aren't part of FOSSA, people who don't follow the FOSSA pages, who don't know anything about us other than we're a Filipino group.
Okay, so one of the jobs of the public relations chair that kind of goes unnoticed is that you are a bridge between the members and the officers. Kind of getting feedback on the types of things that they want to do. They want to see the organization go and how they want to see the organization grow. That being said, do either of you have sort of a game plan for how you would solicit feedback effectively and use that feedback effectively?
I think I remember from a couple meetings before, and Daniel obviously is PR chair right now. He definitely did have, these little like slips where, I'll just talk this way, but it has little slips where he would ask members like personally like what they wanted to see, improve in FOSSA and stuff like that. And I think that would be really important. Even though we are FOSSA officers, it's nothing without the members. Like, they're the ones that keep the whole organization going. And I think it's very important for feedback from members, especially because they're basically the ones that hold up this whole organization. Without them, like, there's no officers at all. Like, there's no organization. So definitely for that, I think it's just, like I said earlier, just building personal relationships with members and stuff like that. And so in that way, they'll gain sort of a trust with you, and they'll be able to honestly give feedback, and also just doing like little slips like during meetings and stuff about like what you want to see included in FOSSA as well.
For personal recollection, I remember Daniel pulled me aside and asked me, what do you think we should do about, or how can we improve FOSSA? He'd do it individually to different members of this organization. I personally believe that a public relations officer needs to be able to cater to every single person's different personalities. Because some people are going to say things bluntly, strongly, with no censorship. Other people will say things, kind of just to tread lightly and not to step on other people's feet. To better our connection between the officer board and the FOSSA members is, as a public relations person, as a public relations officer, if I were to become one, personally, I am not above anyone here. I consider myself equal to all members because, like Melanie said, members always make the group. Your contributions, your input, all our events are centered around how to make you all happy and continue to be part of the organization and to spread the word about our organization so we can pull in new members. Thank you.
Okay. So, because you guys have talked a lot about like relationships between like the members, the university, what about the outside community? What about the alumni? What about like the funds and other bigger organizations and groups of people that see FOSSA? How will you, manage that? Those relationships outside of the university and outside of FOSSA?
Well, I definitely think initially you would reach out to them. I think being a public relations chair, you're not only like a bridge between the members and then like officers and everything that you want between that, but it's also about like reaching out towards like, you know, like the Filipino like community center and everything like that too. So it's like, it's not just the community like within UW, but it's also one like in the greater Seattle area. I think I mentioned that in my speech and everything. And then in that way, like you create a presence. Like FOSSA isn't just like only for like at UW. Like we try to like reach out, and so that in that way that you're able to learn about more about culture, like more about Filipino culture and like other cultures as well. If you get involved with like more organizations outside of UW than just what's here.
Leanne, can you reiterate your question?
Okay,
Please.
so you guys talk a lot about relationships between FOSSA members, the officers, the UW community. What about outside of that, the greater Seattle community?
Are you talking about like bridging the
Yes.
outside of it and everything?
Yes.
Okay. Well, right now, to be honest, I don't have an answer for you, but I believe as a political chair, for me, knowing the different communities and different organizations outside of FOSSA and the different alumni and what they all have brought to the table to the past, culminating a collection of just everything they've done and learning from the past will give us a better chance to improve as an organization and connect to the outer community instead of just being a community stuck in a room at UW every other Thursday where we can all venture out of our comfort zones. And you had a question?
Yeah, what is a brand to you and how can you establish FOSSA's brand on campus?
I guess a brand to me is just basically like a face or sort of like this reputation that an organization or like a person really has. I think for FOSSA's brand and stuff, you would really want to show, even though like we're like strictly like this Filipino culture, but it's really more of an inclusive one. It's more about people who want to learn about Filipino culture and stuff. And so instead of just being like, oh, like you have to be Filipino to, you know, be in this organization, it's more about like, oh, do you want to learn more about it? Like, do you want to be more diverse and like immerse yourself in different cultures than what you already know? I think definitely just being more of an inclusive organization is something that I would like to happen for FOSSA if I become a public relations chair. Yeah, and also like from what I've said earlier, that I definitely want to be able to reach out to more than just the organizations on campus and more of the ones in the greater Seattle area, just so there's more of a presence that FOSSA has everywhere else besides just on campus.
Personally, to me, a brand is a name, and a brand is nothing without the people that have the driving force to make it what it is. A brand just says, we are a Filipino group. Venturing out from our comfort zones, going to different parts of the Seattle area, being a part of different Seattle groups, helps us not only to get out of our comfort zones, but to make ourselves better people for after we get out of here, after we're all done at the university. Personally, if I were to be public relations, I would try to sell FOSSA's brand as best I could, not as something that's, oh, it's a big magical thing. It's more of something to improve yourself. It's something to complement your own personality, and it doesn't define you as a person.
And that concludes our Q&A.